Welcome to Off the Shelf with Christine and Katie. November is Native American Heritage Month, so we wanted to spotlight some Indigenous authors who, in one way or another, pay homage to their ancestry across many genres.
So as always, settle in, grab a cup of your favorite beverage and maybe a snack, and enjoy these recommendations. Read them now or feel free to add them to your TBR for the future. And let us know in the comments what you think of these picks and if you have any titles to add. And as always, if you wish to be notified of new videos, be sure to like and subscribe below.
And as always, let's get on to those books. Katie, why don't you get us started?
Yes. So our first recommendation is a classic. This is called Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange. I know Christine loves this author. And it's both a prequel and sequel to There. This saga follows a family for over 150 years. From the Jude Star, from Jude Star escaping the Sand Creek Massacre in 1964 to Bear Shield/Red Feather family in present-day Oakland. Each generation inherits the trauma of their ancestors, from genocide to the institutionalized violence and addiction.
It's not exactly an easy read.
No.
Okay. Next up we have The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. And this is a Mi'kmaq family from Nova Scotia travels to Maine each summer for blueberry picking. And one year their 4-year-old daughter goes missing, which sparks a mystery that remains unsolved for nearly 50 years. And this was also influenced by the author's Mi'kmaq heritage.
Sounds so interesting. And the next one we want to recommend is called Prairie Edge by Connor Kerr. And one night, Matisse cousins Ezzy and Gray hatch a plan to capture a herd of bison from a nearby national park and release the animals in downtown Edmonton. Just another Tuesday.
Pranks gone wild.
Yeah, exactly. They want to be seen, to be heard, and disrupt the settlers' routines of the city. Yet they have no idea what awaits them or what fateful consequences of their actions will be.
Next up, another one of my favorite authors is The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. This is the final installment in the Indian Lake trilogy, and it picks up 4 years after Don't Fear the Reaper, as Jade returns to Proof Rock, Idaho, to build a life after years of sacrifice, only to find that the Lake Witch is waiting for her.
Dun dun dun.
In case you haven't figured it out, it's a little bit of a harsh suspense.
Yeah, I know he writes a lot of horror. And the next recommendation is Indian Burial Ground by Nick Medina. So Nomi's plans to leave the reservation and a fresh start come to an abrupt end when her boyfriend is killed under mysterious circumstances. Nomi isn't the only one who suspects something menacing might be lurking within their tribal lands. Together, her and her uncle Louis set out to find the truth. Louis has returned to the reservation after more than a decade away, bringing with him secrets and horror from his past. As they get closer to the truth, Nomi wonders if some of the secrets are best kept buried.
Then we have Mirrored Heavens by Rebecca Roanhorse. The interwoven destinies of the people of Meridian will be determined in this final book in the Between Earth and Sky trilogy. It's a modern fantasy series that's inspired by pre-Columbian American cultures. The series' conclusion features an epic battle between ancient gods, their human avatars, and the mortals caught in between. It's been nominated for quite a few awards in the sci-fi fantasy
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds a little bit of mythology. Okay, and the next one we have to recommend is called Fire Exit by Morgan Talty. It's about Charles, a white man who has spent over 2 decades secretly watching his daughter grow up across the river on Maine's Penobscot Reservation. It is the secret to his daughter who her father is. Burdened by a sick mother, an alcoholic best friend, and his own troubled past, Charles grapples with continuing to keep his secret until she suddenly goes missing.
Okay, so now on a lighter note from some of these books, we have The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava. And this is a romance novel about a Chickasaw woman, Ember, who lies on her resume and answers the ethnicity question with a half-lie, hiding her Native American heritage to get her dream job in accounting. But here she meets Danawa, the handsome IT guy, and the two hit it off right away. But the lies keep adding up as Ember does her best to avoid being caught for the embellishments she has made to her resume, and to avoid the higher-ups finding out how she and Danawa are not exactly sticking to the company's no dating policy.
Wow, always how all romances start. And the next one is 1666 by Laura Chilton. This novel recounts the story of the Betamawak women who lived through the decimation of their tribe in the summer of 1666. Told in first-person point of view, this historical fiction novel is a harrowing account of these women who are sold and transported to Barbados via slave ship.
Then we have Where They Last Saw Her by Marcy R. Rendon. In this suspense novel, Quill begins to investigate the disappearance of young women from her reservation in Minnesota. She starts to investigate the pipeline construction workers near her home and unravels a web of violence and injustice.
And the next one we're going to go recommend is an author we've mentioned before. This is The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich. And with a wedding on the horizon, complicated by a love triangle, of course, a North Dakota community grapples with climate change and the 2008 economic collapse in the sequel to The Bee Queen.
Then we have If I Stopped Haunting You by Colby Wilkins.
Great title.
This is an enemies to lover romance with a little bit of a spooky twist. We have two horror authors, Penelope Skinner and Neil Storm, have a very public argument at a crowded event, and afterwards, Penelope's reputation is a little tarnished. After all, she did throw a book at Neil. When they find themselves at a writing retreat in a haunted Scottish castle, neither is ecstatic.
I'd be ecstatic. I don't know what's wrong with them.
While both horror writers, but neither believes in ghosts until the strange noises and terrifying visions begin. Deciding to stick together, their chemistry begins to grow as the eeriness increases.
That's how it all begins.
Yes.
Okay, the next one we're going to go recommend is called The Council of Dolls by Mona Souza Power. And this is a historical fiction novel about 3 generations of Yanktonai Dakota women and their experiences with settler colonialism and boarding schools. This story is told through the women's perspectives and their stories of their dolls, which seem to be inhabited by spirits, which sounds really interesting.
A lot of spirits in a lot of these books, which is kind of neat. Then we have A Grandmother Begins the Story by Michelle Porter. This book weaves together past and present through the entwined stories of 5 generations of Métis women, the bison that are so important to their people and the land that's around them. From a young mother struggling to connect with her newly discovered heritage to the ancestors whose work is still not finished, even in the afterlife, these women's stories connect and influence each other.
Oh, wow. Okay, and the next one we have to recommend is called Moon of the Turning Leaves by Waguchig Rice. And this is a post-apocalyptic novel that follows a group of Anishinaabe people as they search for a new home after a worldwide blackout. Evan Whitesky and his daughter lead a scouting party south from North Ontario to explore the possibility of returning to original homeland on the shore of Lake Huron.
You know, something I found interesting is that title, Moon of the Turning Leaves, is kind of their name for autumn.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was interesting. So then we have Sisters of the Lost Nation by Nick Medina. This is a suspenseful paranormal thriller about a young Native girl searching for answers to the mysterious disappearances of women from her tribe's reservation, including her best friends and her sister. Anna's search for answers leads her to explore her people's myths and stories, and she becomes haunted by an ancient tribal myth that has come to life and is stalking her.
Interesting. Okay, and the next one I'm going to go recommend is called Braiding Sweetgrass: Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And this explores the reciprocal relationships between humans and the lands with a focus on the role of plants and botany in both Native American and Western European traditions.
And lastly, we have Searching for Savannah by Mona Gable, which is a true crime story. This true crime novel about the disappearance and murder of Savannah LeFontaine Greywind, an 8-month pregnant Native American woman. It includes interviews, personal accounts, and trial analysis to investigate the case.
Sounds interesting.
So we hope you've enjoyed these picks and maybe had a few to add to your reading list. Let us know in the comments what you think of it, or if you have any other suggested titles to add to the list.
All right.
But as always, until next time we see you, happy reading.
Take care.